Chris here from Brickhouse Paddles. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about a question we get all the time, which is why do we use wood in our paddles and not just do a straight composite or fiberglass or carbon fiber paddle? I always love the way wood provides a different feel to just about anything, from furniture to flooring to boats. I remember the first time I took a ride across a lake in an old Chris Craft, and just the feel was so different from a fiberglass boat or an aluminum boat. It had a very solid feel to it. It was very comfortable. It was quiet. It rode through the waves as opposed to up and over. It just had a really luxurious feel to it. And ever since then, I've been a big fan of trying to incorporate wood into just about everything I build, make, or manufacture. We've got lots of great reasons on why we use wood on our playing surface, and I'm going to go through them. But for me, one of the reasons I really enjoy using wood on our paddles is that it gives every one of our paddles a unique look. The color is never the same. The grain patterns are never the same in any given paddle. I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but for me there's nothing better than the actual beauty of natural wood. And we do our best to bring that out in every single paddle we make. So let's start with wood has a much different feel than a straight carbon fiber or fiberglass paddle. As a comparison, it's kind of like the difference between standing on a tile or a concrete floor for a long period of time versus standing on a wood floor for a longer period of time. You can do it on either, but you're going to find that over time, the hardwood floor is much easier on your body than the tile or concrete floor. And that's the easiest comparison I can make. So let's see and dive into it a little bit further as to why and how this relates to a wood surface paddle. All materials in a paddle impart a different feel, and the way those materials are used and created and mapped into a paddle is what gives that paddle the feel. Wood is no exception. Each wood type used in our paddles is selected for strength, physical properties, appearance, and it's then paired with a meticulously designed composite substructure to give it its performance and playability. Our paddles are all a hybrid composite. They're not a wood paddle. They are a composite. They run a polypropylene core, just like 90% of the other paddles out there. And then we use either a fiberglass or a carbon fiber substructure, and then we apply our natural wood for our playing surface. This is what makes our paddles a little bit different, and that wood playing surface is what gives our paddles their unique feel. So wood itself is an incredibly strong and durable material. Wood can actually have a strength to weight ratio of 20% better than steel. It also has great dimensional stability, meaning it has great rigidity in the direction of the grain, which gives the wood characteristics similar to that of a unidirectional carbon fiber or fiberglass that you find in a lot of the premium paddles. What wood offers that you can't get with a straight composite paddle is wood has an amazing compressive quality to it, which allows it to absorb an impact and then retain its shape. And what this does is it helps dampen both vibration and sound. We've done some testing on our paddles, and we found that not only do we have less vibration than, let's say, a straight fiberglass or carbon fiber paddle, but our paddles tend to run 15 to 20% quieter than those straight composite paddles. Oh, and by the way, this is maple underneath. This is a natural maple plane surface over top of a carbon fiber substructure. So a natural wood plane surface is slightly lighter than that of a carbon fiber or a fiberglass, while providing superior strength. And this allows us to keep our paddle weights down. I like to keep our paddle weights down, depending on the shape, anywhere from about 7.9 to 7.4. That's our sweet spot for our paddles. That, for a lot of reasons, is I prefer agility over power any day. I like to be able to maneuver the paddle quickly at the net, and keeping that weight down really makes a difference. So now here's one that maybe makes sense to some people, maybe doesn't, I don't know. But to me, I spent 14 years in the renewable energy business, and a lot of it was around minimizing our carbon footprint and being more environmentally conscious. So in manufacturing our paddles, that was one of our key requirements, was to minimize our carbon footprint. So using a natural wood plane surface allows us to do that by reducing the number of resins and artificial components that go into our paddle. And this has got a significant impact on our carbon footprint. Also, the manufacturing technique that we use allows us to reduce a lot of the waste materials. And these waste materials can be anything from Peel ply, which is what gives you that sort of raw carbon texture. That's disposable for the most part. Once you use it once, you throw it away, but it's all resin impregnated. It's a manufactured material to begin with. It goes into landfill, and it's probably 200, 300, 400 years before that's ever decomposed and not around anymore. So the wood impact, or the wood surface, has a significant impact on our environmental footprint. And that's really, like I say, it's an important part of what we design to, and it's an important part of my personal philosophy. So again, another great reason to use a natural wood plane surface. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. The other neat thing about using a natural wood plane surface is you can keep your paddle out of the landfill longer. If your paddle gets worn or beat up, you can send it back to us, and we can refinish your paddle. We can put new graphics on it. We can redo the handles, and send it back to you, and it's good as new, and you're good for another couple of years. And that keeps that paddle out of the landfill for a lot longer. So again, helping to reduce our carbon footprint by remanufacturing or refurbing old paddles. I don't know what paddle to hold up for this one. I want to talk a little bit about control and how the plane surface actually improves the control of the paddle. So because wood can compress slightly due to its natural properties, the amount of time the ball actually sits on the paddle face increases, and the ball tends to sit on the paddle face more so than a straight carbon fiber or fiberglass. Now I'm not talking about the amount of time in a fiberglass paddle where you get the compression, but I'm talking the actual compression in the wood surface. So that dwell time gives you much better control. It gives you more time to aim the paddle as opposed to the ball just flying off. It really does make a difference. The other thing, even with our straight fiberglass paddle, if you take our retro series, which is fiberglass underneath, fiberglass by itself has got a lot of pop to it, and it's a very difficult paddle to control. However, when you play one of our retro series, because the natural wood dampens some of that pop and absorbs some of that ball contact and gives you more dwell time, you'll find that even though these paddles are really poppy, they've still got great control. I find these really nice for my third shot drops or my drop shots, resets. They're really quick at the net, and I find that especially if you're in a defensive situation, it's really easy to just pop the ball over the net. When you get into our carbon fiber version, again, with the maple plane surface on these, you've got tremendous control, like way above average control, and we hear that all the time from people that are playing these paddles that maybe have played a heavy core, like a thicker core paddle, or like a straight carbon fiber. We get a lot of people moving from those 19, 16 millimeter cores down to this particular paddle, and they go, oh my gosh, that's so light, but the control is still amazing, and it's still got great power. Again, I attribute this to the maple plane surface on this and the carbon fiber underneath it. It gives you both control and gives you both amazing control, not just control, but it gives you amazing control as well as it's still got great power. So let's talk about spin. We talked about control, let's talk about spin. One of the nice things about a natural wood plane surface is it has naturally compressive qualities. So if you look at this paddle, you'll notice there's different grain in it. There's a dark grain, there's a light grain. That light grain is a little bit softer than that, that light grain is a little bit harder than the dark grain. So what happens when the ball hits it, that soft grain compresses a little bit more than the hard grain, and it grips the ball. So you can tend to get a little bit more surface contact to generate spin. We don't texture our paddles and add an artificial texture to them. And part of the reason for that is that it's not durable, and we build our paddles to last. For me, there's no point in buying a paddle where, if it's all about spin, it's only going to last me a month, maybe, if I'm lucky. And then it's just going to play like every other paddle, or maybe worse, because the finish underneath a lot of that grit is super hard, and there's no coefficient of friction to it, so you can never generate any spin with it. So we leave our paddles untextured, and are they going to generate gobs of spin right out of the get-go? No. But they will generate consistent spin over the life of the paddle, which to me is more valuable if I'm buying a paddle that I expect to last for 2 or 3 years. If I'm playing in a tournament every week and I'm sponsored and somebody's giving me a new paddle every tournament, I'll take a textured paddle. But if I'm paying for it and I'm expecting it to last, that wood surface is really going to generate spin for you consistently over the life of the paddle. Talking about spin, one of the other nice things about using a wood plane surface is we have a lot more options around what kind of finish we can use on our paddles. And that really makes a difference in generating spin, because we look for finishes that are not only durable and have the appropriate protection qualities that we're looking for, but they also have to have a certain coefficient of friction, meaning the amount of drag on a paddle surface. So it's that coefficient of friction that also aids in generating spin for our paddles, and that's something we can choose and work with in our finishes. So there you go. So another way we generate spin: coefficient of friction, natural compressive qualities of wood equals decent spin over the life of the paddle. So people always ask, are your paddles durable? And unequivocally, yes, our paddles are extremely durable. Our finishes, for example, are chosen for not just the aesthetics that they present, but also for their durability. And these are not just, one coat of finish and done. There's probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 coats of finish put on these paddles before we send them out. And that provides a very durable and solid coating. And it still allows that finish to flex with the paddle. So you don't get the chipping, you don't get the pop out that you can sometimes get with a regular paddle. So what about the wood? Is it strong? Does it really add strength to the paddle? And the answer is yes, absolutely. If it didn't, we wouldn't do it. So one of the nice things about a wood composite hybrid design is it's extremely flexible, meaning it can take repeated hits of a ball, repeated flexes on a handle, and it's actually got a better durability than just a straight composite. If you read some of the tests, and I'll try and put a link in the bottom of this video somewhere, tests done by leading marine composite manufacturers, they will state that the structural properties of a fiberglass or a straight composite, pound for pound, are less and tend to break down more than a hybrid where you use a wood composite structure. And that's just due to the fact that the wood is better at flexing with the impacts or the loads, and you don't get that breakaway of the fibers from the resins inside the actual laminate itself. So the wood, having a cellulose structure, is much more flexible and much more resilient. So when you combine the two, you've got a really, really durable paddle. That natural wood plane surface gives the glue a really good place to bond to, or a really good structure to bond to, so we don't have issues with our trim pulling loose. Yes, we sell it, and I have yet to sell, I've yet to sell a replacement trim to anybody to actually replace their trim because it's come loose. Guys will take a ground strike, and they'll chip the corner out or something like that, and they'll replace it because of that, but not because it's come loose. So that wood surface, great bonding for your glue and your trim. So just to finish up here, we take a lot of pride in what we build and in our paddles, and there are way easier ways of making a paddle. But for us, none seem to give us the aesthetic looks, the performance, the feel, the plane characteristics that we achieve when we use a natural wood plane surface, and then really carefully design the substructure underneath. Each wood type has its own distinct properties, and it's how it's combined with the composite substructure as well as the paddle shape that really imparts the unique feel in our paddles. And again, there are way easier ways to make a paddle. This isn't one of them. So we do it because we love it. We do it because we love the feel, and really just because we can. We're not out there to make billions of dollars a year and conquer the market. We're out there to build the best quality paddles that we can possibly build and keep our customers happy. There you go. That's my shtick. That's why we use wood. That's why I love wood. Hopefully you do too. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the court soon, hopefully with a new Breakhouse paddle. Take care.